At Setu, he gathered sand from the sea for immersion in river Ganga, which he reached 12 years later, a tradition rooted in the physical, psychic and religious unity of this country. Here, he gave khadi clothes to all his disciples.
When national leaders Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das and S. Satyamurthy sought his blessings, the Acharya said,
all political parties should ensure that people's piety is not affected. Though as a sannyasi, I cannot identify myself with any party, I certainly look forward to the country attaining freedom soon.
I want not only the foreigners' rule to go,
but also the foreign outlook of our people to go.
The Congress leader Purushottam Das Tandon, as also Tej Bahadur Sapru, received his blessings. They marveled his knowledge and concern for public affairs.
Spiritually, the Acharya was also a freedom fighter, fighting for freedom of the people from the cycle of birth and death. He felt that by the time political independence was obtained, our people may perhaps further lose their spiritual instincts.
When the government of the then Madras Presidency brought a bill to regulate Hindu religious endowments and temples, the Acharya guided some eminent advocates to draft a memorandum. The Chief Minister, Raja of Panagal of Justice Party, thanked the Acharya for his valuable suggestions. The Acharya was a great authority on Vedanta and Mimamsa and could communicate with clarity to the people. He studied world history, particularly the impact of Hindu culture on humanity at large. He studied keenly the Jain relics of Nartamalai and the fresco paintings of Sittannavasal cave. The Kudumayamalai inscriptions on music belonging to 7th century was of special interest for him. The Tamil servant Uve Swaminatha, who retrieved many classics from decaying palm leaf manuscripts, received the title Dakshinatya Kalanidhi from the Acharya. Veteran scholar Panditamani Kadireshan Chettiar hailed the Acharya's suggestion for study of both Sanskrit and Tamil for knowing and preserving our great heritage. His Holiness had command over 17 languages, including some foreign languages also. Praising Raja Sir Annamalai Chettiar for establishing the Annamalai University, he shared his concern about the pernicious dowry system which was impoverishing many families.
At a cow shed in Nallicherry, a village in Kerala, a historic meeting of two great persons took place on 15th October 1927. The 57-year-old Mahatma Gandhi was drawn to the 33-year-old sannyasi sitting on the floor, clad in a khadi saffron cloth. The Acharya was also happy to meet a respectable national leader leading a simple life with spiritual emphasis. He cautioned Gandhiji,
our actions, as far as possible, should not hurt the feelings of large sections of people who believe in tradition. Our dharma advocates equality, but not identity.
The Mahatma agreed, but submitted that even to save our dharma, there are some practical compulsions. He marveled at the genius of the Acharya and his concern for the common good. Paul Brunton came to India in search of a fully realized soul. The Acharya told him,
only spiritual understanding between all nations will lead to goodwill, peace and prosperity. There is an indwelling divinity in every man, which will bring him back to God. A wiser generation will fuse the best points of Asiatic and European civilizations into a higher and balanced social scheme. Be humble, you will find what you seek. Go to the revered Ramana Maharshi at Thiruvannamalai.
For his Kashi Yatra, his route was through Shri Shailam, Hyderabad, Nagpur, Jabalpur and Allahabad. He covered the entire route of over 2,000 kilometers by foot, with the summer heat at 120 degrees. Wherever he went, he had a ritual bath in the nearby sacred river and darshan at the respective temple, thereby silently demonstrating the psychic unity of Bharat. The common folk and elite thronged to receive him with honors. The Acharya spoke to the people in their own language. At Allahabad, he was ceremoniously received by a committee led by Vice-Chancellor Ganganath Jha. In July 1934, at the Triveni confluence, he mixed the sand gathered by him at the Setu seashore in 1922. After bathing, he collected water from Ganga for abhishekam of deities in South Indian temples. He reached Varanasi and received a hearty welcome by the public, led by the Maharaja of Kashi and Pandit Madan Mohan Malavya, Vice-Chancellor of Benares Hindu University. He had darshan of Lord Vishwanatha and Goddess Annapurni. The Gauda Sannyasis of North and Dravida Sannyasis of South offered Bhiksha to him. At the Benares Hindu University, a grand welcome address in Sanskrit was presented by the Vice-Chancellor. The Acharya, who replied in Sanskrit, said,
The aim of education in ancient India was to attain inner peace. This alone can ensure happiness for society. Education based on our dharma will confer immortality.
A conference of eminent scholars of Bengal invited the Acharya to Calcutta. At Kastar Mahadev, numerous old sannyasis welcomed the Swamiji with reverence. He was honored with public receptions at Patna and Gaya. The Swamiji addressed the people in Hindi. At Bodh Gaya, the Swamiji offered worship to the Bodhi tree and Lord Buddha. After visiting a few other places, he reached Calcutta, where he received a colorful reception at Howrah, jointly organized by several linguistic groups. At a mammoth reception at Kali Ghat, the welcome address mentioned that Adi Shankara, after establishing the other Peethams, finally reached Kanchi, where he ascended the Sarvajna Peetham, and that Pujya Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamigal has undertaken the Padayatra all over India, just like Adi Shankara himself. At Puri, at the Jagannath temple, the ancient Mukti Mantapa Sabha consists of 18 scholars from 18 Shasana villages around Puri. Only those coming in the direct line of disciples of Adi Shankara can adorn the presidential seat. The sage of Kanchi was requested to occupy this seat. Walking through various towns in Orissa, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, he reached Rameshwaram in 1939. With Ganga water collected by him, he did Abhishekam to Ramalinga Swami. His Ganga Yatra was considered complete on that day.
The Acharya returned to Kumbakonam after his unprecedented Dharma Yatra for 21 years, covering over 5,000 kilometers. He emphasized that the philosophy of Hindu society is collective well-being and salvation. He initiated a scheme of mass contact. More than 2,000 honorary Mudradhikaris were nominated in Thanjavur district alone. Some aims of this scheme were social service by the village community, preserving temples by cleaning them, peaceful persuasive prevention of conversion of Hindus to other religions, cow protection, planting of trees and growing of vegetables, digging of tanks, wells and channels, or laying of roads by people themselves without distinction of rich or poor.